Today I'm going to be talking about my attitude towards sex since identifying as asexual. I was raised by parents who were very sex positive people, as was the fashion back in the 1970s, so my attitude towards sex for other people has always been positive. However, when at the age of 14 it dawned on me that I wasn't having the same feelings of sexual attraction that others my age were having, and the very thought of actually having sex with anyone just absolutely grossed me out. I realized that while sex was great for other people, it was nothing I ever wanted any part in. But as I got older and felt lonely, it seemed clear to me that sex was the price I would have to pay for any sort of romance at all. Thus, I had a few painful experiences with sexual partners, none of whom turned out to be romantic in any way. So I became celibate in 1995 and never looked back. Meanwhile, though positive for people who liked sex, my attitude towards sex in general became somewhat resentful. I resented that sex seemed to be a requirement in romantic relationships. I had no idea there were other asexuals out there. I thought I was some kind of mutant. Ironically, like many sexuals first learning about asexuality, I could not wrap my mind around the idea that there could be healthy, well-adjusted people out there who had no more desire to have sex with anyone than I did. I did not base this notion on any strength of libido on my part. As many of you already know, I have none. I think I mainly got this idea from a combination of my own sex-positive upbringing and the prevalence of sex in the media, that being TV, advertising, movies, novels, popular music, even opera, and the news, what with the prevalence of teen pregnancy and the spread of HIV/AIDS, among other sex-related news stories. Now, if someone had told me of the existence of other asexuals back then, I might have reconsidered my skepticism, but it wasn't something I could have conjectured on my own. Therefore, I remember becoming quite resentful of sex in that I felt I was left out of the institution of romance, never mind marriage, because I couldn't stand the idea of having sex with anyone. Eventually, I managed to develop a faux, though serviceable, aromanticism, and when it came to the topic of sex, my attitude became focused on the benefits for other people, and I regarded it simply as something I didn't do. Then, about 2 years ago, I had my first romantic relationship in my life with, as it happens, another asexual who, like me, had never heard of the asexuality movement. And even though the relationship didn't last, her mother was virulently homophobic. And even though I didn't learn about Avon and the online asexual community till a few months after we broke up, this event began to change my whole perspective on the possibility of romance without sex, and I went through a series of complicated emotions. First, I thought maybe my former girlfriend was 1 in 6 billion, that it was kismet that we had come together at all, though we would be together only for a short time, and that I would never find another asexual. And so I was all the more sad for having lost her, which made me begin to resent sex again. But eventually, I met another asexual on an online dating site who told me about Avon, and as I got used to the idea that asexuals were more like 1 in 100, I was exhilarated, and I began to feel less resentful of sex again. Now, I hasten to point out that at no time did I ever stop thinking sex was a good thing for people who enjoy it. To this day, the idea makes me feel a little ill, but I can understand that people have different tastes, and I can easily accept that many people, the majority of people in fact, find the idea of having sex with an attractive partner highly appealing.